What is consumers' trust to banks, and what are the benefits it brings to them? Consumers' trust is how much consumers trust the banks with their monies, properties, and the services the banks provide. Consumers' trust will bring the bank more credibility, increasing the bank's reputation, as customers who trust the bank will refer the bank services to their friends or family. This will get more consumers engaged in the bank's services and not feel threatened about the risk of entrusting their monies to the bank, therefore increasing their presence in the banking industry. Now, let's move on to a story about consumers' trust. Meet Charles. Charles is part of the 14% of people that do not trust the banks. He feels that the banks do not keep the customers' information and money safe after seeing what happened during the subprime crisis of the US recession. So, what happened exactly? During the subprime crisis, the banks had given housing loans to borrowers that had a high chance of not repaying the banks their loans. This was just to have higher returns, but it came with increased risk as well. Also, Charles read an article online on research that concluded that bankers are one of the most dishonest people. There were many negative stories from friends that bankers are only out to earn commissions and are willing to sell the customer any product, even if it's not useful for the customers, through sugarcoating them and emphasizing on the benefits alone. One day, Charles went for lunch with his good friend Anna, who was a bank manager at DFS Bank. During lunch, Charles asked Anna if banks were really still trustworthy and if what his friend's claims are correct. Anna first explained that the banks are still under the jurisdiction of the central banks in Singapore and they need to comply with the regulations that are put up by the Monetary Authority of Singapore of a minimum capacity adequacy ratio of 12.5% to protect the customers from preventing the bank failing due to risk of default. She then talked about how banks are now transparent with the fees and charges so that consumers know what they are paying for and allowing them to make choices of opting out for services that they would not want. She then showed Charles a chart online that shows that 75% of the population trust the banks most to keep their payments safe, as compared to other alternatives such as PayPal and telecom companies. What's more, the bank have also started improving their services and the way they treat their consumers, as more and more consumers now trust that the banks will perform transactions properly, keeping their payments safe and giving sound advices. So in order for banks to get people like Charles and the remaining 14% to trust them once again, banks need to change how they operate. Banks should let their customer know all the benefits and risks of the products that they are about to purchase, as well as giving the whole truth even if the risk can deter the customer from purchasing the product. Banks should also make an effort to understand the consumer's needs by taking time to listen to them and acting on it. The banks can gather feedbacks on their products and services through social medias as well as emails and feedback forms. Banks should also change the quality of the customer service in a way that makes them feel special and cared for. Changes such as prioritizing a customer's needs and listening to them attentively will make the bank seem more concerned with how the customer feels, thus allowing them to trust the banks more as well. When doing so, the banks also need to be consistent in the standards of the service and not only provide excellent services at the beginning to rope the customers in. The consistency would show that the bank is serious in ensuring that the customer's needs are met and that the bank is not entirely profit-oriented. Lastly, in order to get the customers to trust them again, banks need to make and keep their promises. By doing so, it shows to the customer that they are reliable and trustworthy. For example, if the bank promises the customer that the loan is to be disbursed on the 31st of July, later or earlier or no disbursements will breach his promise. One good example would be DBS. DBS was named the safest bank in Asia by Global Finance in 2015, and respondents to a survey rated it highly. DBS focused highly on their staff's training, and they develop and train their staff by educating them on social interactions with their customers and also their product knowledge. With this, DBS ensures that the staff have the standards of professional bankers, providing services that can satisfy the demands of the customers. Also, the help and support function of the DBS website provides all sorts of information to help consumers with different problems. Therefore, with such a large percentage of the consumers, like Charles, that do not trust the banks should manage and improve themselves in such a way that they will come off as not profit-oriented and greedy, but rather be customer-oriented and trustworthy, by being relevant in the customer's everyday life.